Bakar. It's here. FPL Anonymous. It's a meeting. Two big red arrows, two big fat red arrows, and two big idiots on the screen. How are you feeling? You've switched off for a few days. Bakar's back on Thursday to start thinking about FPL content for the week. He's living. He's living. I want to see how angry you are on stream, because off stream you weren't angry, but you were a little bit upset.
I mean, yeah, I mean, fair to say we're two people who didn't captain Haaland this week. I went through the agony of having Salah captain this week. I actually sold De Bruyne for Salah just so that I could captain him. The rationale behind it was the fact that I wanted Salah for the run after game week 11 anyways, and I thought that this was an opportunity where I could captain him. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. That's the way it is. Um, it was obviously very brutal. I had a very rough week. I had 71 points. Madison kind of saved me at the end, but even then, it was a fairly big red arrow. And John, how about yourself? I mean, you were in the same boat, captaining Tony, right? So
I was even worse. I was
yeah, please
69 with a
share us your
-4,
experience.
so 65 points. I have
Yeah,
Madison and all, captained Ivan Tony. So yeah,
yeah,
put the balls on the line. We both did. We both went. We thought it was a week we could go for it, and it wasn't. It was one of those weeks, like, you expect, okay, Haaland might get an 8 pointer, a 10 pointer, even a 13
yeah.
pointer, something like that, 2 goals, 3 bonus. We'll roll the dice and see what Ivan Tony can do against Bournemouth. You roll the dice to see what Salah could do against, was it, Brighton, and
Yeah, Brighton.
just didn't. It,
I
it went
mean,
it went as bad as it could have.
exactly. I mean, when I was sort of fearing the worst after Saturday, and I did not bother tuning into the game. I wasn't even following the live updates. Um, I was I when I checked the score after full time, I saw that City had won by 6 goals, and then I checked the scores, and I honestly didn't know what had hit me because
Mm.
I was mentally prepared for, like, okay, Haaland will probably score two, or at best three. De Bruyne will probably score one or two, something like that. I mean, but the swing was obviously very brutal. Um, it was beyond the worst case scenario, to be very honest with you. I mean, I hadn't expected in my wilder senses that it could happen, but it did. It is what it is, though. I mean, you roll the dice because when Salah has such low ownership and he has a favorable fixture. um it's a decision I still think there was rationale behind making.
Mm.
So I'm not exactly beating myself about it, but it hurts, and that's one of the reasons why I sort of just, like, switched off from socials for 3 days. That's what I tend to do, and deal with trauma. Really, you just tend to disappear and forget about it for a while, and you just tend to enjoy life.
You're going to enjoy a video that comes out in the channel tomorrow for everyone listening. We've one on FPL psychology coming out with Raptor, which is great. I spoke to him; he speaks so well. So looking forward to that tomorrow. But Bakar, I'm going to throw something at you, at risk of us
Sure.
both looking very, very, very incredibly salty. Okay, so you can say what you want. I'm just asking the question. Something I've seen in pre-seasons that always comes up, and I see mentioned all the time, and I know we've not mentioned it for 9 weeks, and this happens to be the week that conveniently I'm bringing it up to you. Are captains stupid? Is captaincy in the game stupid? Does it add too much, like, variance to scores, or not, variance isn't even the word? Does it add too much volatility to scores, and does it punish people too much sometimes, or does it reward people sometimes too much? Or do you like captains? I'm
Um,
going to ask you this week because it's a fun week to ask it, but
No,
it's
I
something
mean,
I've seen
even
in.
despite, I think that obviously this week was an anomaly, and even despite the fact that I've ended up on the most brutal side of variance possible, I still don't think that captaincy should be revoked from the game. I think it's fun, and there's genuine skill to picking the captaincy. Um, However, I don't feel the same way about triple captaincy. I think that adds too much variance to the game, and I don't think there's as much skill picking the captain and picking the right triple captain once, because it's more based on skill, because anything can happen in a one-off event. Like, if you
Mm,
pick someone um, based on analysis and based on research, and that guy goes off injured after 5 minutes, and you've triple captain him, you leave yourself exposed to a lot of variance. So, I mean, a bit of variance with the captaincy is fine, but I'm personally opposed to triple captaincy. I know a lot of people don't share this opinion, and I have gotten slated for saying this out loud in the past, but that's the way I feel. But I like the captaincy element of the game because, when you have people like Haaland, Salah, Kane in your team every week, it gives yourself a decision to make, and it sort of helps in differentiating the crowd.
We've got a few topics to discuss. We're going to have a look at your team later in the video. But first, just everyone watching, thanks for being here. Like it while you're here. Drop a comment in. Let us know something interesting about your game week. That'll boost this video in the algorithm. And if you do not mind, if you're on Twitter, go and give it a share or wherever else. Bakar, with 5 topics we're going to have a quick talk about. You've come up with these. So the first one you wanted to speak about was the best 8 million mid.
Yeah, I think the best 8 million mid is one of the topics worth discussing this week because there are plenty who are actually standing out. There's Bowen, Madison, Luis Diaz was popular early on in the season. There's Foden now as well. There's Wilf Zaha to talk about. There's Trossard even who's putting his hand up. So it's a very tricky sort of call to make. I honestly have had a very hard time differentiating between them. But I personally think that if I was picking one right now, I would probably go with Madison simply because of the fixtures that Leicester have coming up, and he's nailed for 90 minutes. He's in great form. It's good to see that Leicester are back winning. Their next 3 read Bournemouth away, Crystal Palace at home, Leeds at home, and that's as good a run as you're going to get. How I will rank them is tough because I think I still would prefer Foden over the rest if I could afford him simply because of the upside that he offers. He was rested yesterday in the Champions League, and City are looking incredible in terms of attack. They have like the highest pick chances, highest XG, and by a distance as well. And Foden is representing incredible value. He's actually only second to Haaland for some shots inside the box this season, and at like almost 4 million less than KDB, um, he's just 2 points behind him, and his numbers are very good as well. I mean, if I was to pick one, I prefer KDB over Foden, but given the price difference, I think Foden is putting his hand up, and he allows for a lot of upgrades elsewhere in the squad. So even despite the fact that he has a blank coming, I don't think he's a bad guy to buy this week if you want a 8 million midfielder. Then I would prefer Zaha. I think Zaha, with his fixtures, especially from now on in, are absolutely incredible. You look at their fixtures: Leeds at home this week, then Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton. On penalties, he's been posting incredible stats this year. I mean, he's top among midfielders for big chance involvements. I think he's only he's level with Salah in that number actually when it comes to midfielders. And this is despite the fact that Crystal Palace have had a tough run of fixtures to begin with. And he's nailed for 90, which is great. So I would rank Zaha as my third. Bowen is another one who has sort of kicked into form, and he's looked good as well. I'd probably put him fourth, and Diaz would be my fifth pick, simply because of the options that Liverpool have in some of their upcoming fixtures. The next 2 weeks are tough.
If you had like the Bowen or Diaz, your 4th and 5th picks there, would you transfer them to one of the more elite picks, the Fodens, the Zahas, the Madisons? Or would you just keep, some people might have the luxury. There are a few things out there that need sorted now. Obviously, Mitrovic is a topic of conversation that's going to come up, but if someone had the luxury of it, do you think it's worth the pivot?
I don't think I would sell Bowen if I had him. I won't sell him for either of these. But I think if you have Diaz, then I think you can afford to sell. Yeah, I would have sold Diaz if I had him for Madison or Foden or Zaha.
Do you know why I called Jared Bowen a trap last week? Just to add insult to it. Ivan Toney captain. Jared Bowen's a trap. It's not been a great week, has it? It's not been a great week.
It's just like, I mean, you were backing the fixtures to come good with Tony, right? He had like Bournemouth last week, so you're expecting him to do well. I was doing the same with Salah. It works sometimes it doesn't. I mean, in Bowen's case, it has, because he was completely non-existent in the first 7 weeks. But you look at his stats now over the past 2 weeks, and he's doing better. And it's no surprise that it's coincided with a good run of fixtures that he has now.
I mentioned Mitrovic. He's owned by 28.2% of the game, probably even more, a higher percentage of engaged managers or of the top sort of 500k, 250k players, which neither of us are touching. But what do we do with Mitrovic? You know, likely to be out. I've seen in the comments they're out for 3 weeks. Don't know if it's true. Don't know where the source is. Don't know if you've heard anything else yourself, Bakar. The World Cup's around the corner. Is he playing on it? I think he is. Is he?
I think he is. I think he's
So
playing in the World Cup, but I
he'd
don't
want
think
to
there's any
prioritise
news
that.
regarding the. I don't think there's any news regarding his injury as of yet. Uh, from what we hear, I don't think it's that serious. Obviously, we will await official confirmation. I think we'll get it tomorrow in the press conference. But if he's out for a week, I don't think there's any reason to sell him because his fixtures till the run for the World Cup are incredible. I mean, you look at Fulham, and their fixtures are as good as it gets. So I don't really see a reason to sell him. If he's out for 3 weeks, then obviously have to sell him. But if he's out for just 1 week, I won't sell him in that case. Um, let's assume he's out for 3 weeks because as of now we don't really have news. Let's assume he's out for long term. In that case, I would look at someone like Solanke still, despite the fact that he's I mean Bournemouth are terrible and they're ranked 20th for XG. But I mean when you look at their next three fixtures, they're decent. They have Leicester at home, then Fulham at home, and then Southampton at home in game week 12, and a lot of other teams are blanking. So that's something I like about Solanke, and he's cheap, so he allows for other upgrades elsewhere in the squad. Other than that, there's Callum Wilson, but is he worth relying on with injury? Same for Martial. Martial is back, but again, he's very injury prone. Will he start? Will he not start? There are a few question marks. There's Watkins as well, but Villa are like 19th for XG. He has a good fixture this week against Forest, but then after that his fixtures are terrible. So I'm not really convinced regarding any of the replacements. To be very honest, Danny Welbeck is there, but again, there's Spurs this week, then City in 13. So is it really ideal picking someone with those fixtures at this point? I'm not that sure. So if he's out for 1 week, I just think it's best to just use your bench, whoever you have on the bench, just play him for a week and
that was the
hope for the
plan.
best.
The plan
Yeah.
was to do that, Bakar. Fofana coming in, good fixture. Oh, he's just scored a header in the Champions League. My guy. Fofana, I cannot wait to play you this week. And he's out. And it doesn't look great. I didn't actually see the injury. I was watching like the Champions League goal show because I tend to follow a few more teams across Europe, and I didn't see the injury, so I hope he's all right. But like he's out for now, definitely, and that's a bit of a kick in the bollocks because that's just another hit on the depth of my team. And I'm sure a lot of people are that. I seen a comment there. Someone was thinking about playing him this week, so. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think, Bakar, I wish I had more transfers. I wish a million things went my way, but I could go Mitrovic down to the Solanke, as you mentioned.
Wish you had a wild card.
Wish I had a wild card. wish I never used it. And you
Imagine wishing that you had a wild card to re-wild card your wild card.
know. There's a few of us there. I think like Mitrovic down to save a bit of cash if we find out he's out a bit longer term than 1 week. 2 weeks gives you a decision to make. 3 weeks, I think you just get rid of him for me. But bringing in like a Solanke almost as like a depth player and then upgrading elsewhere, upgrading one of the defenders.
I like it. I know I like it because of I've just spoken a lot about the 8 million mids. There's a lot of options in that price range. So you can upgrade the likes of Andreas or Bailey and sort of invest more in midfield. I like that option, and downgrading to Solanke gives you some spare cash as well.
Something I haven't to say actually was a few people saying that apparently Fofana was close to tears. That's from Matt Henley. And Miles brought in Fofana on Monday. Miles, you're an idiot sandwich, Miles. But yeah, these things happen. Let's just hope he's out. I feel bad for him because he's been out for so much in his career. But something I wanted to throw at you was fullbacks. You know the whole big at the back? Big at the back works in Europe, Bakar. I don't know if it works in FPL, but Reece James on fire. Trent belter free kick.
Trent has a
Cancelo
goal.
got an assist.
Cancelo as well. Yeah, Cancelo assist as well.
Cancelo, Reece, and Trent all return.
I'm still a huge advocate of big at the back. I mean, I still think it's something which will work eventually. It hasn't this season, which has caught me by surprise, and I think it's more to do with happenstance rather than the fact that it's just pan out. It just I just don't buy the fact that the same players are performing well in Europe, but they're not doing well here. I just think it's happenstance, to be very honest with you. Um, if I was wildcarding this week, I would have all three in my squad.
A lot of people are mentioning Daka in the comments. Jason and Never Give Up FPL, and I've seen him mentioned yesterday. I was streaming and he's mentioned a lot. Daka, no.
That's the thing with him. I mean, he's cheap and the fixtures are good, but are you sure he's going to start over Vardy? I mean, I'm not personally, and I'm not convinced that he's going to play 90 minutes even if he starts. I mean, he could be taken off early. You never know. He just strikes me as the kind of person who's like one bad performance away from getting dropped, and that's not ideally what you want when you're buying someone at that price. So, I personally won't go there.
Salah to KDB is a talking point now. A lot of people went KDB to
Oh,
Salah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I did it
People
for
now
him.
getting FOMO
Thanks
on
for
the
rubbing
way.
it in.
A lot of people maybe getting FOMO with Man City's incredible form. Haaland with another 2 goals last night. And I think De Bruyne was rested, wasn't he? So I don't know if he came on or not, but he definitely didn't start the game. Did he? I'm going to go and
No,
check
he
that before I'm
didn't. De
saying that.
Bruyne
He
was
did. He
rested. De
did.
Bruyne
Yeah,
was
yeah.
rested. De Bruyne was
So
rested. Yeah.
the point here, a lot of people went to Salah. Maybe they're starting to think, oh no, what have I done? Maybe someone like you, Bakar. But surely now you've
No.
made your bed, you have to run with it with game week 12 in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I do expect City to score heavily against Southampton this week. I mean, there are rumors that Ralph Hasenhüttl is nearing an exit, and his job is on the line. So, I mean, I can see City's putting quite a few past Southampton this week, and obviously, I back ADB to get multiple returns in this fixture. But I don't think I'm going to sell Salah for him this week simply because with game week 12 in mind, Salah's West Ham at home, and he's a potential captaincy option in that week while KDB is blanking. So I don't think I'm going to go there personally. I don't really like the fact though that Salah is playing wide in their new 4-4-2, which happened in the Champions League in midweek, because when Nunes plays, Salah is very wide. He was actually playing much more centrally and receiving passes more centrally in the Premier League against Brighton, but that was when neither Jota or Nunes were playing. So this is something to keep an eye on. I don't really like his positioning, and if that formation, that 4-2-3-1, is to continue, then the signs aren't great for Salah.
Do we keep our Arsenal assets? Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, probably the highest owned. Do we sit on them? Or are we starting to look to get rid of them for game week 12 and maybe a fixture swing in mind?
Jesus and Martinelli?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'd say there's actually not really much of a fixture swing. They have a load of great fixtures, so I'm talking absolute gack. But they do.
I mean, if I was on a wild card, I would sell Jesus on a wild card. I wouldn't pick him on a wild card. But if you have them, I won't sell them simply because Liverpool look terrible defensively. They're in fact in the bottom five for big chances conceded in the league this season, and the defense is actually all over the place. While Arsenal are posting good attacking numbers, again, I expect Arsenal to score at least twice this week, and the same again next week against Leeds. So I think you can afford before getting rid of either in game week 12. I won't sell either if I own them right now.
Yeah, I'm on Martin. I'm looking at my team and I'm in trouble now. We're gonna look at your team more today, Bakar, but I'm just sitting now thinking when I've got my three City, my Martinelli, and I have a Fofana injury. I don't really like Williams or Andreas, and I'm just sat here in a position where it's like, ugh, I need to take
Yeah,
another
exactly.
-4. It didn't work out for me last time. Why is it going to work out this time? But I've 2.5 million in the bank. Oh,
What
Mitrovic
are you
as well.
thinking? What are
I
you
don't know.
thinking?
I was gonna roll. I was gonna roll and play Fofana for Mitrovic and just have a weak enough bench. Um, but now I'm starting to think. I actually don't know what I'm thinking, Bakar. Maybe upgrading some sort of defender with the 2.5 mil. Maybe pivoting from De Bruyne, but I don't think that makes sense this week at all. So I'm not going to do that. Maybe Bailey needs to be upgraded with the 2.5 mil.
Yeah, yeah, I
Find
was gonna
money
say.
by going Mitrovic down to Solanke potentially. I don't know. My head's up
Yeah,
my arse really,
if
but
if Mitrovic is out for like 2 weeks, you can go Mitrovic to Solanke and Bailey to Zaha.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It would
that's
make
that's
my
what I would
decision
suggest
easier if Mitrovic is out. If
for two
Mitrovic,
weeks. Yeah.
yeah, if he isn't, we're in trouble. But Bakar, that's all the topics we're going to speak about this week. We're going to have a look at your team very quickly, see how you get on. Everyone point and laugh, get in the comments, rile him up. He said he's not looking at the comments because he doesn't want to get annoyed, so let's really get in his back and wind him up. It's not that bad. 71 minus 4 for a net 67. Madison saved you. Haaland punished you. Salah, your captain, at least got a return. The Newcastle clean sheet wipeout was sick, but at least Trippier held on to it.
I mean, the 90th minute, the 89th minute clean sheet wipeouts are the absolute worst. Even worse when they happen against 10 men. But I mean, it is what it is. We move on. And for next week now, at least the team looks decent for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm set up well. I don't have De Bruyne, which is a slight issue over Salah, but at least captaincy is in a factor now. With every man and his dog now going to captain Haaland till forever, I think. Forever. But what I'm looking at with the 2.5, in fact, I have 3.2 million in the bank. Yeah. 3.2 million in the bank, I am looking at going from Bailey to Zaha. I think that's an obvious move. That's a move I had penciled in last week to do this week, and that is why I actually bought Solanke for Isaac last week to give myself the funds to be able to make that move. And I really like Zaha for the upcoming fixtures. As I said earlier, stats are great, and I think he's going to be a set and forget for a while now. I can't afford Foden, so that move is off the charts for me. I can't really get there without taking hit. And the other factor is that I have Perisic on my bench this week. I do expect him to start because he was taken off early, and Conte wasn't exactly complimentary of Doherty when asked in the press conference. He said, "I don't want to lose, so why should I play Doherty?"
He said, "I'm not stupid," or he said, "I'm not stupid. I don't want to lose. Why would I play him?" Or something bad.
He was very derogatory. I don't think Doherty is in his plan. So I do expect Sessegnon and Perisic to start as the wing backs in this fixture. And if Mitrovic is out, I can easily play Perisic. That's the plan. If Mitrovic is fit, then Perisic will be on the bench. That's the way I'm looking at it.
And your captaincy's obviously on that big man Haaland now.
Yeah, don't ask me about captaincy. It's
once bitten, twice shy.
I'm not making that mistake again.
Yeah. So I've got your team on the screen with the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub. This week you're predicted to get just shy of 68 points. 68 points. Would you take that?
I think yes, I will. That's
you take 68.
I mean the City players are the ones who I expect to do really well. Other than that, I'm not really sure. So 68 in any week is generally good.
And looking there in the comments column, Bugler says, just to let us know, have you got Andreas Willian get injured in a behind closed doors friendly? So Andreas should be in all set pieces. So for anyone listening, maybe Andreas is an okay option, like he was earlier in the season before Willian came and maybe started taking some of those sets and whatever. But apparently, is Wilson back in? I don't know. I'm not going into Fulham's team sheet. This is all very much
Wilson. I don't think he is.
No,
Harry Wilson. Yeah.
No. But anyway, just to consider, maybe Andreas will be a better pick than people are giving him credit for. But so this is your team as we're set now. Bakar, looking ahead to next week. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say there. We could look ahead to game week 11 and how you're set, and it doesn't look incredible. Andreas has Bournemouth, but Bournemouth maybe are a bit better in defence, so we'll see how they get on in game week 10, but they've been a bit better defensively recently. Then you're looking at the game week 12 headaches of Cancelo, Haaland and Martinelli blanking, but you're going to have to rely on your bench for that, so you may hope Perisic starts, and obviously you have transfers to make before then. But Bakar, I'm rambling on here now. Do you want to do some quick fire questions and we'll hit the road?
Sure.
So everyone, quickfire questions. We can't do this without you. We need you to put questions in that are A or B or yes or no. So Zaha or Foden, or should I bring in X for Y, or is it worth a -4 for X? That sort of stuff. Give us those questions. Bakar's going to try and set a record. His previous record is 53 questions answered in 5 minutes. Wes, aka Heisenberg, did it yesterday. He didn't answer too many. He was given a bit more depth to his answers. So it's up to the expert what they do. But I like them going for records. Let's put people's headaches.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the upside.
Solve people's headaches. So
I think we've spoken in depth in the video. I think we should now aim for the upside.
Yeah, let's try and answer as many as we can. Now, the important thing here is that there's 3 parts to this. And if Bakar's going to set a record, he needs to answer a question every 5 seconds. That if he got one every 5 seconds, that will be 60 questions answered, right, in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we need the questions. We need me to ask them sharp, and we need you to answer them. What held us up last time was sometimes I'd ask you a repeat question because a lot of people want the same information.
Yeah.
And I started apologizing for it. We're just going to go with it. Answer it twice if it needs be. So 5 minutes. Bakar, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hold Bailey for this game week.
Sell.
Barnes or Trossard?
Trossard.
Isaac for Brennan Johnson or Awonyi?
I'm not sure who's nailed. I'm really not sure. I haven't done much research on Forest.
Fofana to Kukureya for a -4.
Obviously, if he's injured, I would.
If we don't get any more information on Mitrovic, do we keep him or sell him? If you lock your team now, what do you do?
Keep him, obviously. Yeah, keep him.
Do you start with TAA or Perisic?
Perisic.
TAA, keep or sell?
Keep.
Mount better than Zaha?
No.
Do I start Trent or Martinelli?
Martinelli.
Wilson or Solanke?
Solanke.
Trossard or Martinelli?
Martinelli.
Almiron, Bowen or Trossard?
Bowen.
Haaland or Fofana?
Haaland.
Bailey to Foden and Cancelo to Guehi for -4.
No, I won't do it.
Perisic for Guehi.
No, why would I do that?
A. Salah, B. Foden.
Foden probably for this week.
-4 for Zaha.
Yes.
Sell Trent to Chilwell for 2 weeks.
No.
Castagna for Dalot. Or Dalot.
No.
Zaha, Rodrigo or Trossard.
Zaha.
-4 to get Kane.
No. I won't do it this week.
Chilwell, yes or no?
Depends on who you're selling.
Dalot or Shaw.
Dalot probably.
Barnes or Trossard.
Trossard.
KDB and Mitrovic or Zaha and Haaland.
Zaha and Haaland.
Bailey to Foden and Cancelo to Gay.
No, I've answered it. No. Won't sell Cancelo.
No. Okay, repeat question. Pope or Guaida?
For this week, I would have Pope.
Salah to Foden?
No.
Tony or Wilson?
Tony.
Kufal, Gay or Saliba?
Actually, I'd pick Wilson. Sorry, I'd pick Wilson if I was picking one right now. Sorry, what's the next question?
Kufal, Gay or Saliba?
Gehi.
Mitrovic to Zaha on a -4.
Depends on the transfer, but yes, it makes sense like this when you say it like this.
Gay or Justin?
Gehi.
Trent to Mings?
No.
Zaha or Bowen?
Zaha.
Haaland to CR7 for a -8. I'm giving you the easy ones. Will Chilwell start this week?
Can't rely on his fitness, but I think so, yes. Kukureya is back though, so he might revert to a 3-5-2.
Pope or Ward?
Pope.
Start Martinelli or Dalot this week?
Martinelli.
Saka to Zaha?
I would, yes, I would.
Wilson to Martial? Wilson or Martial?
Wilson.
Solanke or Maupay?
Solanke.
Kepa or Pope?
Kepa, if picking one right now.
Sell Kane to upgrade Bailey or Almiron to an 8 million mid?
I won't sell Kane. He's a great captaincy option next week.
Okay. Triple captain Haaland?
No.
No. Mitrovic to Tony?
No, I won't buy Tony right now.
Trent or Reece James?
Reece James.
Kane or Salah?
What sort of a question is that? I mean, if you're picking one right now, I would. I mean, again, it depends on the structure. I mean, both are great options. I would probably have. I mean, probably have Salah.
Welbeck or Solanke?
Both are great options. I like Welbeck as well, but I think I like Solanke for the extra cash.
Aubameyang or Darwin?
Uh, Probably Aubameyang.
Keeper sell Bailey.
Sell.
KDB to Foden to get Madison.
Foden to get. Yes. Uh, Again, if you're upgrading a 4.5 mid to Madison, it would only make sense in that case.
We're out of time. We're out of time. Do you have any idea? Do you think it went good or bad?
No, I think I took too long. I think I took too
On a
long in some
couple.
of the questions.
It's hard because
There were a couple of very confusing questions. I mean, how the hell am I supposed to answer something like Kane or Salah?
I think my job's harder than yours.
I agree. I completely agree because you have to filter through the questions. You have to actually filter through them first and then decide what to ask. But
I think
it's a
next.
tough.
Sorry.
It's only something which will, practice will make us perfect. That's what I think.
I've got two ideas. One is I think some week you should ask me them for the fun of it, and then you have to critique me. And then
Sure.
another thing is we should dress up for Halloween
Oh,
because
nice.
I've got my costume ready. All right. Can you guess who I am? Some people will be able to guess this. Do you know who I
Look,
am?
absolutely dapper. Who's this?
I'm FPL Raptor.
Oh, Raptor. I see. That's nice.
FPL Raptor, who's had a few
Oh,
pies and has been out in a night out with Elton John, hence the glasses. Anyway, there we
I
go.
see.
He's on tomorrow if people are interested. The Green Arrow is on later today. If people want to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, there's a link for 30% off in the description. Bakar, they can find you on Twitter. The handle's below you. They can find me on my handle below me. You'll be putting out your final team reveal over there. And that's us for this week, isn't it?
Yep, we're done.
Let's hope for a better week. Let's hope for a much better week.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
we're getting there. All right. Enjoy your week, everyone. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for being here. Drop a like on your way out and subscribe to Fantasy Football Hub. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Good luck.